May the words of my lips and the meditation of our hearts be always acceptable to you, O Jesus Christ, our strength and Redeemer. Amen. Within the maze, you're continuing a hearing of these Gospels that connect the journey of the Israelites in the desert, wandering, lost, hungry, with that which is Jesus Christ coming into the world, going through a life that would end at the cross. But before the cross, there was this moment of the Eucharist celebration beginning at the Last Supper. And I want to really suggest that what this is really all about is how Jesus is, at every moment in our life, available to us as this nourishing food that can forever lift us up, forever connect with us. That isn't just some story that we read in the Bible of things that occurred to our ancestors, but how God is meeting us every day, forever and eternally, with that life-giving bread, that life-giving wine that will sustain us. In the midst of the maze of this life. And here at Church of the Apostles, I think this is a slightly more pressing matter than in many other churches because of the layout of our worship space. Specifically, that we gather here in this circle as a community and congregation to celebrate the Eucharist. And then right on the other side of our altar is a other circle, is specifically a maze. And that maze is a labyrinth, but the expression of the labyrinth of a way of reflecting and meditating we see across the globe, very specific to the Sonoran Desert, to the people of the Tahana Oram and the Pasquayaki. Over the past few days, I've been gathering with the Native Ministry Council of the Diocese of Arizona. And once a year, they give us this opportunity to sit in prayer and relationship, and they allow us to be guided by one of the local medicine people, the local healers of the indigenous people of Arizona. And our speaker this past few days spoke specifically about the maze that we have here in the midst of our worship space. And spoke about the 4 times that his beliefs bring him to understand we enter into this maze. At the beginning of our lives, from when we are born to when we are about 12, we're picking up and learning the very basic realities of what it means to talk, to have base-level relationships, to begin to learn some simple skills of cooking and cleaning and how to have fun and celebrate and play games. And then this other time, sometime at the age of 12 or 13, people move into this space where they actually have to truly begin learning what it is to be an adult, what it might be to live independently in some way, to take on the responsibilities. And that runs until about the end of the teenage years. And those are the 2 short times in the maze. And then there's this long time in the maze. The time of doing and of learning that begins sometime in your 20s and goes on until someone reaches their 60s or their 70s when they are an elder, and what they have to do is provide and give. And their last part of time in this maze of this life is the community respecting them, because the elders give of their wisdom and contribute to the community by telling them everything that they've learned in the maze. And what really is happening in this gospel is Jesus telling us that at every single space in this maze that is our life, and every single partition of our journey through this maze that is our life, as we go around these twists and these turns, that God is with us. But most importantly, when it comes to our understanding of the gospel and of Jesus Christ, that God has been very directly in this maze as well. That God was there from birth until the age of 12 or 13, which is very interesting, the very age where we have this story of Jesus as a child precociously hanging out in the temple and staying there when his parents were expecting him to travel back home with them, and then they'd go back and find Jesus. And then we have this gap from about 12 to about 30, where Jesus was doing this thing in the maze of learning what it meant to be who he was and to be a human. And then we have these last 3 years of Jesus' life, which is what we generally read about here in our Gospels. These 3 years of ministry, of giving and giving and giving, until he gave his entire life and love for us on that cross. But all of that means, and all of this brought about, the fact that we, in the midst of the maze where we are in our life, whatever twist and whatever turn we're on, can come to this altar, can celebrate with each other this Eucharistic celebration, and forever in our lives, through the eternity of what we are, know that Jesus is meeting us here. And whatever turn of the maze of life we are in, Jesus has been there and is in the midst of it with us and is feeding us, if only we allow ourselves to be fed. Amen.